Hey everyone, good morning. How are you this morning? We're kind of a little beat up this morning, so take it easy on me if you're listening and you're a critic. We've had kind of a crazy week again. Yesterday we had tornado warnings. That was a little scary, especially because, it's the same thing with the earthquakes that we've been having. I mean, I've lived here my whole life and never once have I thought about there's going to be an earthquake or a tornado in New England. I know there's a possibility always, but the tornado thing kind of gets me a little scared because as a kid, the movie that scared me the most was The Wizard of Oz, and it wasn't about the wizard or those those funny flying monkeys. It was about the tornado. I was just so deathly afraid of them. So maybe the reason why I never moved out of New England, I don't know. But anyway, kind of a little bit beat up today. Also, just before coming on, Lola and Benjamin, who have been getting along really, really well, lately had a fight and there was blood, and so I've had to separate them. And Earthquakes Weekly, oh no, I could not take it. Yesterday we actually had we had the tornado warning in the middle of the day, and then the day before we had another earthquake, and now they're having some sort of citywide meeting or something next week. Not that, I think it's just informational, like what can they do if it's an earthquake. But anyway, hi Nuane, how are you? Hi Diane. So anyway, this morning is not turning out the way that I had planned, but I am sort of determined to get through. We got puppy issues, and we have another hurricane coming. Henri, I think it's Henri. Henry, for people who pronounce the H's. Henri is the French pronunciation. I think he's headed up the coast. Remember the days when they were only named after women? I like that they have men's name. I do not have a worry about hurricanes. I've lived through many, many hurricanes and also blizzards. And I lived through the perfect storm and all of that. It's just, I guess maybe because I'm just not used to the idea, I'm really uncomfortable with it. And we're pretty, Owen and I are pretty good at it, because when it happened, I said, grab the pigs, and I said, I got the dogs, and then we all went downstairs and we were looking for the cat, and I'm like, where's the cat? I thought he was outside. It was pouring rain, and when we went downstairs, there the cat was sitting on the sofa. So I was like, okay, good, now we're all safe. And Owen he has this room off of his bedroom in the basement. And so that's where we sat and watched a video for an hour. But to be honest, I just cleaned. I cleaned up the area because he had so many glasses, cups, and everything in the area. Anyway, enough about me. We're going to do a little bit of the basics of sublimation here today, using your Cricut and your Cricut Easy Press and a sublimation printer. If you do not have a sublimation printer, this is still useful just so that you can understand the process, but also understand some images that are in Design Space. And I'm going to take it from the Design Space. If I have time at the very end, I'm going to show you how to take up a picture that you may have saved on your iPad and bring it into Design Space on the iPad if I have time. But I want to go over these basics. So this is not about how to set up a sublimation printer, because there is someone, and I'm trying to remember her name. She's from the Shabby Chic or the Crafty Chic Cottage or something. Somebody would know. Shirley would know. The cottage that has, she does a lot of, I can't remember her name. She's a cute little thing with the red hair and stuff. Anyway, so she does this whole thing on how to set up a sublimation printer. You do need a sublimation printer to achieve sublimation, whether it is on soft or hard surfaces. You need a sublimation printer to do that. A sublimation printer ideally is, not ideally, has to be separate from your regular printer. It requires separate ink, and it also requires special paper. So this is the kind of paper that you'll be using. It's inkjet sublimation paper. And you'll see here from the picture, this is how this works. So these are all sublimated pictures on hard and soft surfaces. And you would set up your printer and get the ink all in there, and you'd put your paper into the machine. So all that part there is not what I'm going to go over. It can be expensive. There are some very expensive machines. I chose a very inexpensive machine called an Epson. And I can give you the link where I think I got mine at Best Buy. I got mine at Best Buy, but I got the paper from and the ink from Amazon. And so there are some really, really expensive ones and all of that. So just keep that in mind if you're interested in purchasing one. And it's obviously, it's not a requirement. This is sort of a, maybe you'd like to do it, maybe not, and I have done sublimation on mugs with great success. And I started doing this on let me show you what I started doing. So I started doing this cosmetic bag because it's small and I'm working from a different part of my desk, okay? So I did this, and you can actually see through it because on the back I did this. And these are both from Design Space, but I didn't like the way this came out. And then when I always like to use all the surfaces. I flipped it over. You can actually see it when you're holding it up, and I don't like that. But it was just a test. It was just a trial. And so I thought that we would use some of just so you can see the process. Now you guys are going to perfect this way better than me. And I'm just going to kind of give you just some tips on how to do this. He's always ordering me around, like, what, mom, will you make me this? Will you make me that? And he gets into certain things, and he's really into vintage, and which is kind of funny because he's super into the 80s, and that's when I grew up, right? And so, he's really super into the 80s, and he's always like trying to find things like VHS recorders and old time photo cameras and cassette recorders and things like that. And so he goes to the thrift shop. I told you that he's a real thrifty kid. He goes to the thrift shop and he buys all these things, and yet they don't work. And I'm like, why are you spending even $10 on a VHS that's just not going to work? It's junk. And he said, well, I thought it would work. And I mean, I don't mind that he does that, obviously. I mean, but I guess having grown up in that era, I like the things that actually now work, like DVDs or streaming, and I guess that's fascinating for him, but just not as fascinating for me. Anyway, so let's talk about sublimation. Sublimation is very similar to infusible ink, which is why we're doing it today. We've been doing infusible ink most of the week except for Monday. And yeah, he does need to learn how to fix them, Paralita, but he doesn't know how, and he kind of doesn't have anybody to show him how. So that's sort of the tough thing. But he does take things apart. So maybe someday he'll figure out how to do it. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so sublimation is very similar to infusible ink. That's why we're going to do it. It's a kind of iron on, and we can use our Cricut Design Space, and we can use our Easy Press to get it on, and you can also use the mug press if you want to do this on a hard surface. And we can actually use a lot of the images that are in Design Space. This is one that I have here, and you can go into the image library here and just type in, let's go back so you can see. We're just going to go to image sets and type in the word printable, Printable, and you will see there's almost 400 images that are printables. You want to maybe start with printables, as so it makes it a whole lot easier. But I'm going to show you how to turn something into a printable as well. So you'll notice that there are just oodles and oodles of images that you can do. So if you have a kid that's into 80s stuff like my kid, there's a whole thing. There's hippies, here's hipsters, butterflies, fiesta, dinosaurs, flowers, even sports, kitty cats. And then there's all kinds of nationalities like Brazilian, and Russian, German, Italian, I think. And here's the retro one that I was talking about. So let's grab a couple from here. Let's grab this one, and let's see. I don't know, maybe we'll go back and grab something else. There's Star Wars, but again, you have to have purchased some of them. Oh yeah, that's good that I'm coming back here. There's also Disney printables, okay? And this one here is for Up. Now, I have purchased this, and I am going to tell you that, say I wanted to do one of these guys, like, I don't know, this absolutely adorable dog, I forget what his name is, or this kid with the kid that helps the old man. You can use these images for your own personal use. They are what's the word I'm looking for? They're licensed, but since you purchased them, Cricut has worked out the licensing issue. Now, there are a lot of people that don't care about copyright, and they might say, well, Disney, I'll just go on the internet and find something that I can use. I cannot stress this enough, that Disney and other corporations and companies and even individual artists have proprietary images that if you take them, they have every right. And you start to say, for instance, let's say you wanted to take a picture of or an image of a logo for the Red Sox or for some big team or whatever. And then you decided, I'm going to go into business and I'm going to make hats and t-shirts and I'm going to sell them at Fenway Park and I'm going to, just make $1 million and that's how I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, guess what? Somebody out there will probably come after you and would not allow you to do that. That's not the case sort of here, in the sense that you can use these for your own personal use, but you can't really use them if you were going to, say, sell them on Etsy or on the street corner at Fenway Park. But the other thing that you should consider is on Etsy, you'll often find things that are copyrighted, but the person that's selling them doesn't seem to have gone through the hoops that Cricut has gone through. So if and when I ever do Disney type things, I always come to Design Space and take images from there. Now you can purchase these individually or as groups, just like you can purchase anything in Design Space that is there. You can purchase single or multiple, and same thing, like here's the Star Wars Mandalorian printables, and this for a Star Wars fan might be really, really cool and exciting. Like, look at the baby Yoda, everybody loves that. And so you would just go ahead and pick them and put them into your canvas. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because depending on the size of your printable, you will be able to use your Cricut to get your printer working and actually to cut out the images. But you have to keep the images at a certain size. So this size, which I just made bigger, you'll see over here there is a little a cautionary triangle here. That's because my image is bigger than my allowable space on Print Then Cut. So here's the thing that you get stuck with this. Right now, the largest printable item you can have is 9 1/4 by 6 3/4, I believe. So right now you'll see up here that my width is 9.7. So as long as I get it down to 9 1/4, as long as I keep it, and those are absolutes in terms of printing, and they cannot. One cannot exceed while the other one is within the range. Do you know what I mean? They're absolutes and they're not, you can't play around with them, okay? So you see now that I have changed this to 9 1/4, and it ends up being a height of almost 4 inches. Then my little thing goes away, okay? Now, there are different ways to do, I should probably have prefaced this whole thing. You can't see the top of the screen. Okay. There are different ways to do printing on a sublimation printer. Like, you can use the software that comes with the printer. You can use the software that is other software like Procreate, and there are all kinds of other softwares. I am just simply using it as it relates to Cricut. So I'm using the Cricut version. Now, if you're using other software, okay, you may be able to make a much bigger printable, but in this case, we're in the Cricut land, and so we need to keep it within Cricut parameters, okay? So any of these images that we've picked out, we have to resize, and to not only to look good on a shirt. I really like this dog one. So let's see, maybe we can get it to be 6 inches. Yeah, the dog one's really cute, isn't he? So let's see, I think that would be cool. But the maximum I could go is, again, that 9 1/4 by 6 3/4. So even if I get this, the width down to 9, as this is beyond, like lower than 9 1/4, the height is still not within that range, so I still have to make it smaller. I hope that makes sense. I know I'm not doing a great job of explaining this. So when you're resizing, here you go. This is what you have to do. You have to keep it in this space. Now, what if you saw, no, okay, so Christine is saying, I have an inkjet printer, and could I just put the paper in there and go? No, the combination of the paper and the ink is what's important. So you have to have a dedicated printer that has sublimation ink, and this one here that I have is an Echo Tank. So I have to take this printer and make it strictly for sublimation and fill it up with special ink and then use the paper. Okay, so there is a layout of an expense here that you would have to make. Now, there are also some products, and I am hoping that Cricut comes out with something like this, where you can print on your regular printer, but I don't think that that's possible. I don't know. An iron-on that you can iron on to your... And they had something like that a while back, but it just didn't work that well. So so this very specifically is for the sublimation printer. Okay. Now, what if you found an image that you really liked, but that wasn't a printable? So let's go back to image sets, and how about these? Well, let's see. I gotta find something. Okay, let's do Disney. Okay, so this is Alice in Wonderland, which I have purchased, and I really love this bunny, and I also like the Cheshire Cat and this one, and yeah. So let's insert that. So when you have an image that you really like and you want to turn it into a printable and a sublimation printable, let's say. So here is the bunny. And maybe I want to make it real big or something. I don't know. This is what I like. Then we're going to go down here to flatten. And this is going to make our multi-layer. Here are all our layers for the rabbit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers on our rabbit. And instead of 8 layers, I'm going to make it into 1 layer. That's what a printable is. It's 1 layer that prints, and then you cut it out. So we're going to flatten this image, and you'll notice it looks a little different. Let me show you that again. So here's our Cheshire Cat, and we're going to... Here is the Cheshire Cat, and he has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 layers, which you could cut out 9 layers in, say, vinyl. But if you wanted to do it with the sublimation printer, and there are other uses as well, you have to flatten it. So we're going over here to flatten, and you'll notice that my my Cheshire Cat has turned into 1 layer. So all 9 of those layers are gone. It's flattened. It's all together. So when I go to print this, and here's where it's kind of the same. So printing this is the same as what you would do with your sublimation. So let us go, and I'm just going to make this super simple, and we will just do a couple of these images. All right, let's see. Let's do these all of these, okay? So let's say we want to go to print it. And we want to make it, okay? So we're thinking in terms of these have to be printable images. That's the first sort of rule of thumb. You have to have a sublimation printer set up as a sublimation printer with the ink in there and the special paper. Then you would hit make it. And then what would happen is the images would be sorted. And because our images are kind of big, you'll notice that these are all sorted in separate mats. this is okay. If you wanted the image to be smaller so you'd fit more on your paper, you could do that, and you could play around with that just like we've talked about in the past. But it sort of doesn't matter with this because we want a bigger image. Like I want my dog to be bigger. But if I wanted to make him smaller, and so if I wanted, so I'm going to cancel and go back here. Let's say I want to make a small dog, but I want to do a lot of them. Or maybe I want to do a small dog and a little boy, just like that. And then I wanted to hide these other images, let's say. Then I could hit make it, and more than likely those will fit. Yep, they do fit. And in fact, I could probably do 2, possibly 3, maybe not 3. Okay, so let's try 3 and see. No, right? But in this place here, I mean, you can move this around, but the thing about the print and cut is you're always going to have this around it, this box around it, okay? And that is for cutting out using the Cricut. You may decide you don't want to cut it out using the printer, but in the Cricut, but you still need to cut it out this way if you're going to use your Cricut Design Space, okay? So the next thing that we have to do is remember this is like iron-on. It's like infusible ink. So what do? We have to mirror our images. So let's go ahead and mirror the images. And if you have more than one, you have to mirror both, okay? And then we are going to go to continue. Now, this is a lot like when you're making stickers from images, like if you're making buttons on your button press. This is a lot like that. But instead of sending it to your regular inkjet printer, you're going to send it to your sublimation printer. So I'm going to click on this send to printer button, right? And up here on the printer, I am going to choose my sublimation. So this is my sublimation one. I have an Epson Echo Tank 2720 series. That's the kind of sublimation printer that I have. So that's what I'm going to choose. I'm going to also add, using System Dialog, I'm going to turn that toggle switch off, but I'm going to choose not to add bleed. But I suppose we could add bleed. All right, let's add bleed. Bleed is just so that when Cricut cuts around it, it doesn't leave white space. It kind of doesn't matter because the white space doesn't sort of end up on, it doesn't become anything. So let's go ahead and add the bleed, okay? So I did turn on Use System Dialog. And so here's the System Dialog. Now with a sublimation, you want to use the setting of like a photo, high quality photo. So I use the photo matte paper because the paper is actually kind of matted, and mine is actually pink. You put it in this way so the pink is facing up, and let's just go ahead and choose photo matte paper, and the quality, make sure it's on best. Okay. Then I have my printer over here. I'm sorry it's not in view, but I'm going to hit print, and then I have to scurry over to my printer and hit the button that says OK. Now, I was told that I shouldn't have to hit that button OK, but I haven't learned the way to do it. So if somebody knows how to do it, that's fine. I'd love to learn, always learning new things. So it's taking a while, but it's going to print because it's taking a while because it's a quality printout, okay? And then we're going to take our let's grab our mat while it's printing. And I have a brand new mat, so of course it's sticking to everything. So, all right. So here's my brand new mat, and I'm waiting for the printer to print out. Okay. While I am waiting, or while we're waiting, I will mention that we still have plenty of time to enter the Bundle of Joy giveaway. Make sure you get your name in. You can do it every day for up to 2 weeks. This is my commercial break. And then the other thing is that there will not be any date night tomorrow because I have a wedding to go to on Saturday. Hopefully it will be nice weather. So there will not be a date night starting tomorrow. And also I've been giving a lot of thought to making date night into, first of all, a little bit earlier so I have the ability to see, because I'm old and my eyes don't do as well at night. And so we're also talking about changing date night into being a larger project, like like putting together a castle or a house or things like that. Okay. And so that is probably what sorry, I'm a little nervous, I think, still. But okay, so that's what date night's going to become. Next week, we are back to school. I know it's a little late, but it's kind of not late for my area. So it's the week before, well, really the week before the last week of the summer. Not technically, but you know, whatever. I'm not really expressing myself. Anyway, we're going to be doing back to school things tomorrow, next week. Okay. And let's see if there's anything else. Back to school. We'll probably do some vinyl, where we'll decorate some like back to school items such as pencil cases. We might do some iron-on as well. And then I have a couple of really fun back to school things to do in paper. Okay, so my printout is done. And it kind of got a little messed up, and I don't know why, but here it is. So I'm going to bring you down here because see, that's a kind of an issue right there. That's going to be an issue with printing this out. I'm sorry, cutting it out on our design space and with our Cricut. Hold on. Okay. So here's our very sticky mat. It's extremely sticky. I'm going to put it on like this up in the top left-hand corner. I'm hoping that my Cricut is going to cut this out because it needs to read these lines, and these lines are a little bit messed up. So what I'm going to do to kind of help it along is I'm going to get a pen. This one, it does not matter if it's sublimation pen, but I'm going to get, I was hoping to find, yep, there it is. So there's my Sharpie. It's a regular old Sharpie. It doesn't matter that it's not sublimation, but what I am going to do is sort of fix this so that the box is enclosed. That's so that the sensors can read it. The sensors on the Cricut can read it. I don't think I need to do it down here, but it never hurts. It probably doesn't hurt. Now you notice that this printed out and it's not even correct, so I don't even know if this is going to work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into the machine. I do have to choose a base material, and in this case what I have been using is I've been going to paper and I've been choosing laser copy paper for this. Okay, and let's try it out. Okay, so I'm gonna go, let's go over to the Cricut, put it in, and it may or may not work, so let's see. So what happens with the Cricut, and by the way, this cannot be done with the Joy, because the Joy doesn't have sensors in the carriage. Each Maker or Explore version, so only Explore and Maker, have what's called sensors. I'm going to hit OK. And these sensors, you'll see, will light up, and they will do this thing where they read the box. See that light up? And it's basically going to read each line of the box and figure out how it's going to cut this. So I'm hoping this will work, but we might end up not, it might end up not working. So let's see, we're holding our breath. So once it does that, it sort of stops for a second, and then it starts to cut out. It's going to cut out all around our dogs and our little boy. We hope. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it's cutting out like between the arms, like the little holes between the arms. And then, which is a little more detailed than I wanted to get, but that's okay. It still is okay. So now it's cutting around the outside of the body, which is pretty cool. And while we're waiting for the rest of it to go, and it is actually working, which I'm pretty excited about. So while we're waiting for the rest of it to go, I just wanted to jump to the iPad, and I wanted to show you how you can take your pictures and bring it into Design Space. Okay, so let's say I want to do a cup, or I don't know, an ornament that is going to be kitty cats on it, and my kitty cat or my dog on it. I am going to start on my iPad, or you can do this on your desktop as well. But we're going to go to Upload. And in the iPad, it says, take a photo, select from the photo library, browse files, or open uploaded images. In this case, because we're doing select from, we're doing an image, we're going to do select from the photo library. So this brings up my entire camera roll. And let's say I want to use this picture of my dogs. This is how it would look. And it's saying I can clean it up. Now you notice up here that there is a square that's black. This is the actual print and cut image. But this, I'm sorry, not the regular print image. This is the actual print and cut image. Now I could do all kinds of things, like I could crop it by, you know, making it smaller like this, or I can do like erase things, but I don't want to erase. This is not going to appear, okay? So you hit next, and you'll be given these two choices. Make sure you choose the photo one, and there's like a despeckle option, and there's also a smoothing option, which is if you just want to refine your image. And then you hit next, and you'll be given a choice. Here's cut, and here is print and cut. So we're going to choose print and cut, and then I'm going to put in the image name. So I'm going to say Benji and Teddy. Teddy. Capital E, okay? And then I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, this will be in my library, similarly to the SVGs, okay? So here you go. Here is this one. I also did this logo. I didn't intend to use it, but I wanted to show you this Bubba Gump Shrimp Company logo. So you would just bring these two in You see here, and then go ahead and print as normally from your iPad, which you can do. You can do print then cut, and you have to make sure that you this one's too big. Make sure that the size is right, and make sure you mirror it. So when I hit make it on my iPad, you see this is set up to go work with my Maker, I believe my Maker 3, and here is my Bubba Gump one. And so what I would do is hit this and choose mirror, okay? I need to do that for both, mirror. And then once I have both of these all set, I would hit print right here, print. And what it would do is give me a choice, just like we saw before, of the available printers. So here's my Epson printer. So I'm just trying to show you this. This can be done on the iPad as well as on your desktop, okay? So then you would go ahead and hit print. It would print to your Epson, and then you would go and do this step, okay? All right, so let's take what we cut out and see how it came out. So it doesn't matter these things anymore. This is a very sticky mat. I don't like working with too sticky mats because look it. But that's okay. It's gonna, it's just gonna drive you crazy. Like it's driving me crazy, okay? So let's go ahead and bring you down here. Why did I mirror? Because I want to get myself in the habit of mirroring in case there's some writing, okay? I want to get you to, let's have a look at this. So you notice here, okay, there's my picture of my dogs, which I didn't make a high quality, and so it has these lines on it. So I won't use this unless I want to see those lines. But here I did make these high quality, and let me grab my spatula. And I did mirror these because in the event that there were some words in there, you are going to actually put them on backward. It's going to go on backwards. So here's my dog, and I could cut around here. It kind of doesn't matter, but you can see if I didn't have this really crazy sticky mat, this would have worked out okay. So let's get one of the boy images off. This one's going to rip. I know already it's going to rip. So let's take this boy. Don't use a really sticky, crazy sticky mat, okay? Use something you've been using, and then you won't have this problem. Okay, so we have a dog and we have a boy. That's all that matters, and I gotta clean this, okay? So now we're going to put it on our, let's put it on one of these. So I think the initial, your initial instinct, at least mine was to put it on facing up like this, okay? But that's actually incorrect. You have to put it on with it facing down on your substrate, okay? Now, because these are individual, I'm going to use my heat-resistant tape to secure them. This is really important. This is an important step, and you don't want to skip this because when you're using this sublimation, there is a lot of ink on this paper, and if it moves even slightly, you're going to get a blurring or a ghosting effect, very similar to what I did here. You see all these little blurs, and here, right here, not so good. So I'm going to take and put my dog, look at that, and my little boy, and I'm going to really get him on there good. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention, I had a problem with recording yesterday, and so the whole recorded thing yesterday with infusible ink techniques didn't get to the YouTube. So if you want to watch that, or if you wanted to watch it again, you have to do it on Facebook. I haven't informed YouTube because I got so busy yesterday, but yeah, I had a problem. I think I've resolved it. I hope I've resolved it. And so we're going to put this on here. And to be honest, it really kind of doesn't matter how much tape you use. And it's okay if the tape is on your design. Okay, so there's my my cosmetic case. I'm going to heat up my Easy Press now. I'm using the heat press guide, which I've shown you so many times. But do use that. My heat press says for infusible ink transfer sheets to do it at 385 for 60 seconds. Now, so far, I've been using those same excuse me, those same degrees in temperature because it seems to work. And now I need to get a few things. First, I'm going to need some butcher paper, but I need clean butcher paper. See, this is what happens to butcher paper. It actually ghosts on the paper. But I can use this half, so I'm going to just cut this like this. I then also need to put something inside of my cosmetic case, okay? And you can either take your butcher paper like this, fold it up so that it's 4 layers, and use it on the inside of your cosmetic case like this. And that's going to keep the ink from running from here to there. Or you can also use 80-pound stock, which is what I think I'll use since that butcher paper has some ghosting on it. All right, you can use this 80-pound stock inside. So the one thing I did not do, but don't fault me for it, you just do it, is I did not use my lint roller, but because I forgot before I taped on my little characters, okay? So we're going to put this on. I'm waiting for my Easy Press to heat up so you can see. So here's my mat. Here's my bag, and on the inside of my bag is my cardstock, or you can use butcher paper folded so that there's 4 layers. There's my sublimation. This is a infusible ink from Cricut. You can't just use any old thing. It has to be a very high polyester count, okay? So if you don't want to buy Cricuts, you can buy anything as long as it's a high polyester count. So I did have, no, I don't have it anymore. But I did have the Cricut ones come 3 to 8 pack, and they're pretty reasonable. So there's that. Okay, so did you hear that beep? That means my Easy Press is ready to rock and roll. And so I am going to put it on here. Now the thing is that this has a zipper, and then also around it has these 4 seams, or 3 seams basically. And so we're going to want to get our Easy Press right on here. And we don't want to put our design anywhere near the seams or the zipper, or it won't come out very good. So my Easy Press is heated up, and I am just going to place it on there, and I am going to do it for 60 seconds. I have a sneaking suspicion that you don't need to do it for 60 seconds, but I haven't yet tested that out. Now, once this is done, I'm going to tell you, do not be in a hurry to take it off, because I was in a hurry here, And look at what happened. I could see actually it leaving that ghost marks. This one here, I don't think I took it off in a hurry, but I didn't cut it out all around the words. I think what I would do next time, if I want to do this, is I would do an offset layer on it and then cut it out around the words, so I didn't have these little things here. But you see, I'm not sure if this is avoidable or not. So because of these little dots, I don't know. But oops, there it is, ready. Okay. So don't be in a hurry to remove it. But here is, because we're on a time schedule there. There is what it looks like when it's done. Okay. Now, again, don't do what I'm telling you to do, which is don't be in a hurry to remove it, but I have to do that. And oh, goodness gracious, it didn't come out super wonderful. So I'm going to leave it on and I'm going to try it again. I did notice that the bleed I'm not going to do it for the full 60 seconds, and I wasn't really pressing down. So this works out really, really great on the mug press, but it's sort of a learning curve with the sublimation printer. But I think once you've, kind of done this a couple times and maybe it hasn't come out as perfect as you want it to, it will, you will get the hang of it. And again, I know I'm going to get people who say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it with the, yeah, but we're mostly hobbyists here. And so we are not in the business of being like sublimate. There we go. It's better. So there is what that looks like. And then it's obviously very hot, but you take that out and you end up with something like this. I think next time I would not do the bleed, because I think that's what that is. And next time I need to be very careful about this part near the zipper. You see? And obviously this is just like a on the fly design. So, I don't know who wants a little cosmetic type bag or pencil bag with the dog, and I don't know who, maybe somebody does, but that is a way for you to do sublimation, see, on a infusible ink using your Cricut Design Space. Hey, while I'm here, I might as well, I didn't get a chance to because everything was so crazy. Let's see if we can't put this. Actually, I have a shirt over here. Let's put it on a shirt. This was from yesterday. We did, nope, that's not it. What about a tote bag? Kind of not big enough for a tote bag. Let's see. All right. So I have this. It's a Cricut. It's an extra large. Let's do that, since we're here and I have a couple extra minutes. Okay. So yesterday we did techniques using infusible ink. However, if you are watching this today on YouTube, you would not be able to see that that video unless you go to Facebook. So I figured I'd show you what we ended up doing. We put infusible ink pen onto the infusible ink design sheet, transfer sheet, and then we cut it out. So we're going to get our, I remembered this time, and give this a little bit of a, whoops, sorry. And I need to get some paper underneath there. I hope I have it. Yeah. All right. Where's our paper? Okay. I think there is good. I'm going to preheat it for 15 seconds. And if you're not interested in this part, you're free to go as if I had you captive. But so there's the 15 seconds. And then I'm going to take my design, right? And there's a little piece of something here. I don't know what it is. I'm going to line it up where I want it. Okay. And then I've got my butcher paper. Just like that, right? So I got the mat. I've got my t-shirt with the paper inside. Sorry, the design on there and the butcher paper. I have my Easy Press set up for 385 for 60 seconds, and I'm going to make sure that I'm putting it right over the design because we want the entire design to look the same, okay? So, oops, and I forgot to hit the button. So there we go, 60 seconds. So I hope this week has been helpful to you. There are some things that maybe we should go over as a class of its own, but I just wanted to give you a feel for how to use infusible ink, how to use sublimation paper and printer, and how to use the pens as well, because we use the pens with this. So I hope that this has been helpful. If it hasn't, or you want to see something else, yes, please tell me, and I am happy to oblige. But next week, we're going to head into back to school, and then we'll do some, let's see, then we're going to do all fall and Christmas. I'm going to go up to Christmas, start doing our Christmas things, because we're heading into that time when the kids are back to school and we can actually play. All right, so this is done. Let's see how it came out. It didn't get the C. Oh, crap. The C for crap. All right, I'm going to have to put that over there because the C looks a little ghosted to me. I wonder if the E looks the same way. Nope, the E looks fine. So you can see, isn't that cool? There was a little part of the C that didn't really get on there. So I'm just going to give it 30 seconds since it was sort of halfway done. Okay. I hope. Something always goes wrong with these lives, but, you know, they're lives, and so you just kind of have to live with my imperfections. Okay, so it's done, and then we can peel it off, and there it says create, and it is right. It did work. This is good. This came out great with the pen and this was, what did we call this? Triangle pattern, something like that. Rainbow pattern. So, and this is ready to wear. You don't need to wash it. It's ready to wear. You don't have to worry about not washing it. It's going to stay on and on and on, and I'll be able to wear it for as long as I want because this is not coming off, because if you get real close, you can see it's in that fiber right, just like that. So that's gonna do it for me this week. I do hope to see you again on Monday, where we'll start doing some back to school things, and then after that we'll start going into some fall things. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to get your name in for the joy. Do that every day. Get your name in twice a day, and you'll have a lot of entries in there, and then we'll pick the winner. We have one more week of the giveaway, and we'll pick the winner after that week is up. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week and a weekend, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye.